Stuart, I think we're ready to get started.
Okay, just I have to find the tab with the music. Welcome, everybody. We're so excited to have you here.
All right, sorry, my bad. Okay. Hi everybody. Welcome to Dial Magazine's issue number 2 release party. We are so excited to have you here. My name is Rebecca. I am the editor-in-chief / founder of Dial Magazine, and I will also be your host for tonight. We also have Nikki. Nikki, please wait. Yeah, so Nikki is here. She is going to be the chat host for this evening. So if you have any questions, you can either private message Nikki or you can just put it in the chat. She'll be paying attention to that and just answering any questions that come along the way. And so yeah, and then so first and foremost, Dial Magazine is a student-run literary magazine that was created to amplify voices of students in the AUHSD. A lot of us realized that there were some student spaces in the AUHSD that were not supported, that did not have enough student artists that were feeling supported, that felt heard and felt important and seen. So this is why Dial Magazine was created, so that student artists can feel heard, can feel seen, and feel very important and know that their art is really important. So that is our main mission, and our staff is completely student run. We represent almost every AUHSD school in the district, and we try to be as diverse as possible with our publication. Students in the AUHSD practice the 5 C's. They learn about like the unlimited you part of like our district's motto, and we really like stand by that we have unlimited potential, and that these students that we are celebrating and featuring today and celebrating their work for, that we are just like celebrating them and making sure that they feel heard and valued, and remember that their art is very important. So that is the purpose of our release party today. We are first and foremost, just celebrating issue number 2, and most importantly, we are also celebrating the people that were published in issue number 2, the amazing student artists, their strong voices, the talent that they have. And I just want to say that Dial Magazine is just so proud and so honored to feature your work and to be able to just have that gift. I think that this is what I always tell the editors when we were working on the literary magazine, that the submissions that we are getting is like a gift from the artists. So I want to thank you guys for the gifts that you have given us and the strong voices that you are sharing with us tonight. And now I'm gonna secondly, I also want to give a few thank yous before we get started. First, thank you to our staff members. This year we had of like just a huge amount of staff members. Last year we only had maybe 8 or 10 staff members, but this year we had 50, which was a larger number. And it was a very immense just blessing and privilege to be able to work with these people, all of the layout editors, the prose, poetry, art editors, and the school representatives. We only had maybe like a quarter of a school year to work on this magazine, and everyone worked so hard. They gave so much of themselves into this magazine, and I am so thankful for that, and so thankful that Dial Magazine has such amazing people to be able to work on it and to be able to amplify student voices. So first, thank you to the staff. You guys are so amazing. Always know that I'm so grateful for you guys, and I am just so in awe of your work. And second, I want to thank our advisor, Miss Stewart. Miss Stewart has just been one of my advisors since 8th grade. I'm currently a 10th grader now, so she has seen me grow as an artist. So as an individual, I want to thank her, but also as just a representative of the Dial Magazine team as a whole, I want to thank her for all her hard work. We would not have been able to have a print issue without Miss Stewart. So Miss Stewart, you are amazing, and I'm so thankful for you. And I truly believe that Dial Magazine would not be where it is and would not run as smoothly as it does without Miss Stewart and her help and her support. And lastly, I would like to thank the AUHSD officials. Cypress, I currently am a student at Cypress, and Dial Magazine is produced by the Cypress High School Poetry Club. And I want to thank Dr. Hodgson and Mr. Pfeiffer, Cypress administrators, who taught me and just showed me that the arts should be supported, and how great and how exponential growth can be when the arts and students in the arts are supported by faculty. And I want to thank them for all their support, just first and foremost empowering student artists at Cypress, and also helping us just gain funding and also gain support from the district as well. And AUHSD officials such as the AUHSD School Board, Michael Matsuda, for allowing us to amplify student voices and have this space for student artists. And now I'm going to hand it off to Nikki, where she will kind of be just giving an overview of how we will be running this release party and giving some guidelines for everybody. So Nikki, whenever you're ready.
Hello, everyone. To start off our night, well, it's California, so it's kind of sunny still, but to start off our release night, I just want to ask everybody an important question. Since we are celebrating the arts today, I just want to ask everyone, why is art important to you? Because for me, I would say that art is literally one of my favorite things in the world, and it is something that I am forever grateful for. Because art is just a way of self-expression, and just seeing everyone's their own expressions just makes me happy, and that's why art is so important to me. And yeah, we just want to see this celebration for art. Why is art amazing? Art is so amazing. So if you're able to type something in the chat, you can go ahead. I don't know if the chat is open to everybody though.
Yes, I think that the chat is only open to those who are only DMs are open, so we can
I just switched it, I updated it for you, so you should be able to do that now. But maybe someone should test it for me.
Okay, I think it's working now. So yeah, so everyone put in the chat, why do we love art? Okay. See, it's working, letting everyone get a moment to type their answers. And while that is coming in, okay. Ooh, getting the answers. Reading from a few of you, art is important to express itself and create an impact in the world. Helps me express my ideas and feelings. Happy for my brain. I agree. Art is so good for your brain. Art is for anyone and everyone. Yes. It's fun, makes us feel things. Endless range of topics and mediums, accessible for everyone. Allows self-expression. Lets everybody express their emotions. I am loving these answers. Yeah, so keep it coming. We love art. Okay, so while that's coming in, I'm going to start off with some guidelines that are going on. Hello, if you don't know, I'm Nikki. I'm going to be the chat host. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to DM me in the public chat. And I'm going to be putting in the performers' names on cue inside of the chat. So if you are a performer, keep an eye out for your name. And when I do that, Rebecca is also going to introduce you with your name, your school, and your grade. And whenever you're ready, you can start unmuting and do your performance and present your work. And I just want to make it clear that tonight is not a talent show. It is simply just a place to showcase your work and to have others encourage you and to uplift others. So this is not a competition at any means. This is only just a way to support and uplift one another. And we want to emphasize that a lot. And a way to do that in show support is to snap, just like this. Always fun. If you've never been to an open mic night, that is our way of applause. So if you like something that you hear or you see, you do your snaps. And as always, praise in the chat as well, encouraging words is highly encouraged. And one last thing in my notes, you are able to leave this event whenever you would like. However, we do encourage that you stay the entire time so that all of our performers have an equal audience to be there and to support them. And that is it for all of our guidelines. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me. Without further ado, we're going to start off our night with our editor-in-chief's editor note from the magazine. So Rebecca, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead.
Okay, I will be honest. The editor's note took a very long time to finish for me. It was very difficult because last year all I had to do was talk about the pandemic, and that was so easy to talk about. But without further ado, this is the editor's note that is in issue number 2. All right, dear reader, I have tried. For the past 2 hours, I have been staring at this blank page, unable to figure out what I want to say. So maybe I'll just start there. I am not the first to say that we are living in times of uncertainty. Recently, the phrase, "I do not know," has appeared in my vernacular more often than usual. Sometimes it physically pains me to not have all the answers. Maybe it's the way my spine curls every time I think about the future, or perhaps it's the aching I feel in my chest when I am asked about what I will be when I grow up. I just do not know. At the same time, I find uncertainty lying in this second issue. Its pages are scarce of a theme that weaves through them. Unlike its preceding issue, nothing pulls it together except the words, ideas, and voices of student artists all around the AUHSD. But that is what makes uncertainty so valuable. The unknown is an exploration, a chance to discover new treasures, and this issue is a creative odyssey of the strong voices that those in our youth have. Power lies in Selena Alvarez's fraying depiction of teachers during online school, and dances a beautiful stroll with the planet Venus in Alicia Kari's words. I hear voices waiting to be heard in Bhumi Chauhan's struggles and triumphs, Jamie Koff's tenderness with music's devotion, Hans Andre de Dio's cradle of hope for us, Megan Na's grief through the eyes of night, and so much more. I feel grateful that these artists are allowing us to embark on this adventure of uncertainty with them. I am proud that Dial Magazine has become a podium for young artists to share their voices with the world. So, today, I invite you to dive into this expedition of an uncertainty with us. I hope that while wandering through the worlds these artists bring you into, you discover the strengths in these people and the stories they have to tell. Uncertainty may be a daunting experience, but the discoveries that can be made are worth the exploration. So that is our the editor's note in our second issue. Like Nikki said on our chat, up next we have Riley Frazier from Cyprus. Riley is an 11th grader from Cyprus High School, and Riley will be performing poetry. So whenever you are ready, you can unmute your mic and go ahead.
Okay. Hello, she said, I'm Riley Frazier, and I wrote the poem Never to Be Anything Other Than Human, and this is it. Wherever the crows go, I wish to follow them, spread my sharp ebony wings, soar, majestically gliding. Powerful wings up, then down again, smooth scales. Manta rays swim in my head, slicing through fathomless depth. Singing to the moon, running through the blue night, dirty paws pound in rhythm. Stone coat beauty, where do you hide? Always wished again, always stayed in my skin. I feel never to be, another wish is unlimited.
Oh my gosh, snaps. Again, praise in the chat. I see people snapping. That was so beautiful, Riley. And I remember reading your poem like in the submissions. It's just so beautiful. And I again appreciate that you shared your work with us. And I just want to thank you again. And yes, okay, so for our next performer, we have hold on, okay, there we go. We have Megan Knott, who is an 8th grader from Lexington Junior High School, and Megan will be performing poetry. So Megan, whenever you are ready.
Can you hear me? Hi, my name is Megan, and yes, I'm an 8th grader at Lexington. So the poem I wrote is titled A Long Night. The night sky visits you have fallen ill. It is the start to a night where time stands still. We pray and beg for some form of a cure, but the sky is dark and your pain dances at will. Though a miracle we hope is your ultimate fate, the sun isn't here, so we sit and wait. Are our prayers not working is what we wonder. Our faith and hope begins to grate. I find nothing but sorrow in watching you suffer, but to you this will make you only stronger and tougher. How can you think that in all of your agony, and when the moon still looms like a sun-blocking buffer? After what seems like a decade, a century, a crack of light appears and the sun rises sequentially. Elated I am, for I hear the roosters crow. I see a smile on your face begin to grow. But for a gift like that comes a price, and fate thought taking your breath would certainly suffice.
Megan, thank you so much for that poem and reading for us tonight. I really just loved the poem and how it talked about grief, but also kind of showed it through a motif of night and that timeline together. It was so beautiful, so well written. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Up next, we have Giuliano Duran. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce that, but Giuliano is an 11th grader from Kennedy High School who will be performing poetry. So Giuliano, whenever you are ready, you can go ahead.
Alright. Well, hello. Alright. Well, I'll just start off already. I'll say hi to Alicia because I know who she is. Hello. Alright. And alright. So I wrote the poem Letter to My Father. And I mean it's just about me and my life like the beginning, you know what I mean? And well, yeah, so it goes, I shed 1,000 tears for years. My peers couldn't understand the pain that ran, how grand they were living with all the love they was given. Miles was taken by my own, the wisdom shown to my mom that's grown, because Pops never once picked up the phone. Stress-free, not for us, see. Families scattered and full different parts, with zero knowing of what's in our hearts. Pain darts in our veins, clouded bridge of birds, but it's difficult to see who's hurt the worst. Those who are close yet so far show fake smiles, not because there's no love, but because we feel the need to hide the sadness that robs our bodies. Sometimes I'm ready to shut down and self-destruct, to duck all despair. Then I remember about those that do care. Man has always been there, though the bandages of sacrifice never fully healed the wound. It also hurt her who offered her hand. The weight tore her ligaments, but it was all an investment. A better life for us filled her hopes and climbing from the bottom of such a steep slope.
Snaps to that. Thank you so much, Giuliano, for sharing that poem. I really appreciated it, and I loved the vulnerability and how you shared that life story with us. Excuse me. Thank you so much for that. And we're having praise in the chat. Snap. Yes, the rhythm was so incredible. And the way you kind of kept with the beat and the way you were reading it, so good. And yes, it was it's a job well done. And up next, we have Svicha. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering your name. Who is a 7th grader from Lexington Junior High School. And Visha will be, I am so sorry, will be performing poetry. So whenever you're ready, you can go ahead.
Okay. The poem I wrote is Where I'm From, Where I'm At, and Where I'm Going. I'm from sunset beaches, from the glistening waters where the palms grow taller and taller every time I pass by. I'm from Kaiser Permanente in Anaheim, California, where I first joined this world. I'm from the scattered leaves in my backyard, from the huge lemon tree dropping citrus each day. I'm from the yellow, white, and red rose bushes raining petals every day. The roaring sound of the lawnmower trimming down the emerald blades. I am from the urge to prance upon the clouds and drop down to find myself exploring cultures around the world. I am at an endless journey of death and grief. I am at a time where I only see eyes, always a waterfall of tears. I am at a country where the Capitol riot took place, where the enraged beasts were let loose. I cannot see where I am going in this foggy season of gloom. I am at an unknown world of death every day where I cannot find a shine of hope for those who died and those infected. I want this disease of despair to wash away, but not everything I wish will come my way, so I must live through another sorrowful day. I am walking into a dream which I thought would never come. I am a doctor, a lawyer, and now a zoologist. I have eliminated the disease of despair, have solved the most complex cases of justice, and am now playing with lion cubs. The infected have now been cured. The world is now at peace with the chirping of birds and the howling of winds, the serenity of the ocean, and the constant tears all taken back. I am where I have always wanted to be ever since I walked into this dream.
Thank you so much for sharing that poem. I loved the sectioning of where I'm from, where I'm at, where I'm going. Just the timeline together was so good. And again, just the rhythm in that poem, so beautiful. And I want to thank you for sharing this at our release party. I really appreciate it. And up next, we have Oh, okay. So I'm going to be sharing my screen because we actually have Nicole Figiana who will be sharing their art piece with us, kind of explaining it, just, whatever they want. Yes, so Nicole, whenever you are ready, you can go ahead.
Okay, hi. The title of my art piece is Living Stars. I've always been fascinated by the unique beauty of fireflies. So in this piece, I wanted to convey a scene that I hope one day I'll witness myself. There's something about the luminosity and glow of fireflies. It's not like any other thing on Earth. As the piece's title describes, fireflies really are like living stars, glowing and shining brightly in the dark here on Earth. Maybe we as people ought to be like fireflies and shine our light in these confusing and dark times. That's all.
I was not unmuted. Thank you, Nicole. And I loved hearing that with your piece, just the dreamy visuals, and then your writing was just so graceful, so ethereal. So yes, I agree with everyone in the chat right now. It was so beautiful, so amazing. And yes, just snaps to that. And up next, we have Natalie Littler, who is a 7th grader at Oxford Academy, and Natalie will be performing poetry. So when you are ready, you can go ahead.
Hello, so I am presenting Silent Bird, and it goes like this. The silent bird sits upon an oak bough, watching as people below fight and quarrel and fight and die, so much hatred, so many lives. but still the silent bird sits watching the world keeps turning and the sun rises again.
Snaps to that. Thank you, Natalie, for sharing your poem. It was so beautiful. And just the description of the bird and the imagery was just so, so beautiful. And yes, I saw Calix's comment in the chat. Yes, Calix is one of our prose editors who's also from Oxford. But yes, yeah, the concept of the bird was so beautiful and it's just so amazing. I loved it so much. Thank you for sharing. And next up, we have Anna Fath, who is an 8th grader from Orange View Junior High School. And Anna will be performing poetry. So whenever you're ready, you can go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Anna Path, and my piece that I will be sharing today is called A Person's Nature, and it touches on how our personalities are really similar to parts of the world around us. So, Stone can be very cold and very old, but very strong. Wanna belong, can't even write a song. But is he gone? Am I wrong? He's such a Kong, crazy at ping pong, thinks he can live extremely long. But he thinks he can be more than a flower, who goes by the hour. She creates pollen, the others are calling, but she's falling. A daughter, bought her, but she needs a little water to grow a little taller. And oh no, she's getting hotter, but she's still thriving, never in hiding. And on the other side, Stone is smaller because the wind blew him harder, and he's getting sad, often mad, but he's hopeless. Wind broke him down, he can't not frown. He's gone around town, everyone's around, flowers blooming, skies aren't glooming, but he's still small. Could be nothing at all. He's no longer stone, he's all alone. He's pebble. Is he still able? Wind. They're crashing, bashing, slashing, never looks back on what's happening. Oh, they're laughing now, but soon they'll be brought down. They cover their emotion through all this commotion. Don't say they're being used, somewhat abused and accused and bruised. But wind's got their power. They can be louder, they need a nice shower, and they brush away others, fight with their brothers. They've been places you've never seen, but deep down inside, they aren't all clean. They hear all your words, they're deadly and silent, they seem tough roads, they've broken through codes, they've brought Pebble back to anew, because they heard their cue. I'm sorry, they say, but now they're hurt. Get mad at people who don't treat them equal, some filled with dark pollution, they try to find a solution, slowly they work. Save them now, or we'll all be drowned. Water. She's beautiful. Under the right light, depends on the time. She's got the right rhyme. She flows through creeks. Others barely survive. She's seen others dive into darkness, her darkness. And she says, some dive too deep, some dive too shallow, but I have them in control. She seems so perfect, makes you want to feel worth it. She's got the moves at the right time. She tried to warn you before you were born because she's thrown people overboard. She's always in control. She wins and she loses, but now she needs someone to hold. We've got rock, flower, wind, water, and so much more, each dangerous, each powerful, each horrible, their own way to get their own taste of glory. Who are you? Thank you.
Snaps to that. Oh my gosh. As someone who loves nature poems, I love the incorporation of nature imagery in that poem and the rhymes. The rhymes were so good, and the power you had in your voice when performing that piece, just so amazing. Thank you, Energy, for sharing with us and for giving us that amazing gift. I'm so grateful. And yes, just so amazing. Snaps to that. And up next, we have Clarissa Molina Rodriguez, who is an 11th grader from Cypress High School. And Clarissa will be performing poetry. So whenever you are ready, Clarissa, you can go ahead.
Hi guys, so my piece is called Lost at Sea, and I'm just gonna start it. There are oceans between us, so I take the plunge. Please bubble past my lips, slipping from me like a last breath. Underwater, drowning. Anchors made of my mistakes weigh me down. Shackled to my wrists, water fills my lungs, and I can no longer speak. Lost for words, but my soul is screaming, crying out for you. The silence is deafening, the ache grows, the depths reach out for me, and I'm struggling to stay afloat. So I force words into the air between us. I'm sorry. Another mistake. The words are glass and my mouth bleeds. I hold my heart in trembling hands for you, always for you. I was hoping, waiting for a life preserver, but all you gave me was a death sentence. I had no shield prepared for the bullets you fired back at me. That's not good enough. Your aim was true. And I'm helpless as I watch you walk away, falling deeper into the depths, the distance between us immeasurable, and my defeated body is dragged into the abyss, into the unknown. And I finally understand. You're not coming to save me. Not anymore. Falling, 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 deeper, deeper, deeper. The ocean envelops me in a final deadly embrace. I close my eyes, ready for my fate, and as my tears become one with the sea, and my body sinks to the ocean floor, I know I am where I belong.
That was so beautiful, Clarissa. Thank you so much. Yes, it was so vivid, and just the narrative poem style of that piece, and like it was so detailed, and a lot of people were talking about how they could picture it in their mind, how it was so clear, and I completely agree with them. It was just like with the picture and the emotions the poems are giving us, it was so amazing. And I enjoyed reading. I enjoyed listening to that, and it was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Clarissa. Up next we have Alicia. My tongue. I'm getting tongue tied. We have Alicia Kari, who is an 11th grader from Kennedy High School, and Alicia will be performing poetry.
Hi, my name is Alicia. Thank you for having me here. I do feel set up after going after Clarissa's beautiful poem, but I'm still happy to share. I actually have two poems to read, one called Venus and one called Ghost of Neptune. I'm going to be starting off with Venus first. Take me to Venus, where the golden rays align and the poetry of arrows is destined. For I am infatuated with you so, and all I desire is your preeminent love. Let us travel to the locality of eternal rapture, where the infinite subject of your autumn eyes taint my memory. You could leave me a million times before I erase you away. There is not a sun that sets without the benevolent thought of the dimples that crease your cheek and the great luminary of your smile. I can still hear the echolocation of your words. You are so utterly perfect, my dear. I've never been more sure of our fate that lies in the stars. Whether in this lifetime or another, our heavenly bodies will forever intertwine. So let us share the planet that is Venus, for I am infatuated with you so, and all I desire is your preeminent love. Before I go into the next poem, I just want to say quickly that Venus is a love poem. It's about someone wanting to go to Venus because with, Venus being the planet of love, it's where they feel like it's the only place that can hold how infinite their love is, rather than being on Earth, where the one thing that Earth really has to offer is limited time. And so by being in Venus, they feel like it's the only place where their bodies can forever intertwine. Next, I'm going to be reading Ghost of Neptune. My love could overflow the universe, but yours seems to be quite shallow. The mumbling of a heart breaking and a thought that never leaves my mind. The ghost of Neptune soaks off into the distance. I see you slowly descend into madness. I can't stand the thought of you alone. Killed by the ignorance of an arrow. Didn't you hear? Cupid never loved anyone. He was simply conceived by a fable, a mere illusion who disguises the truths of heartbreak. Too grotesque to realize how incomparably beautiful you truly were. Oh, how I wish that you were not dead, now the ghost of Neptune, with eyes just as blue and a heart just as cold. So this poem juxtaposes the other one. It's more so about heartbreak, and it's where you're in love with someone who's broken and you think like, oh, if I love them hard enough, maybe I can fix them, maybe I can heal their wounds. And then, you kind of come to terms with the fact that sometimes it's just not enough, and sometimes that's all you can do is love them. Thank you.
Alicia, that journey from Venus to Neptune, it was so beautiful. My dog might be barking in the background. I don't know if you can hear, but if you can, he's clapping for you, Alicia. He's snapping for you. Just such a wonderful, beautiful poem. It makes me want to be in love, even though I've been single my whole entire life. Just like, oh, so beautiful, so gorgeous, and it really immersed you into the emotions of love and feeling like you're in love. Yes, my dog has amazing taste in poetry, I must say. Yeah.
Here's the thing, I've been single my whole entire life too, so I kind of feel like a hypocrite, but it's whatever, you know.
I love that. Like, oh, just it was so good. I could rave about it for hours and hours. Kylie, your kindergarten boyfriend. I find that so funny. But yes, just that poem was so dreamy. I think that's like the word that I would use to describe it. It was so dreamy, and I thank you for sharing that with us and giving us the gift of your two poems. So up next, we have, so we are now going to move on to having our staff members and also our like poetry club members perform some pieces. If you are a staff member at Dial and you want to like do a last minute performance, like private message me, we can make that happen. Yes, so first, on behalf of an artist who could not be here today, we have Calix Jimenez, who will be performing Pump Number 9, who it was a prose piece in our, oh yeah, Calix is waving. It was a prose piece in our issue number 2, and it's such a good piece, and it was written by Ariel. I'm trying to find her. Oh,
Actually, I unmuted myself because I was trying to figure out how to pronounce it, but then realized I couldn't either.
Her name's Ariel Newhall.
Oh, Ariel Newhall. So Ariel Newhall, amazing writer, so talented. And you guys, this prose piece is so good. It is such a good prose piece. And Calix will be, because Ariel could not be here today, Calix will be reciting it on behalf of Ariel. So Calix, whenever you are ready, you can go ahead.
I'll start then. It was a foggy night. As Johnny drove his motorcycle down the winding dirt road, dust swirled up from underneath him, making the urge to scratch his eyes irresistible. If only he had his helmet. Maybe then he'd be able to see 5 feet ahead of him, or even the gloves gripping the handlebars for that matter. But in the end, Johnny had no specific place he wanted to go anyways. He just wanted to go away. As far as Johnny was concerned, if that rusty old engine of his was sputtering, then that was good enough for him. At least until the engine began to make other noises too. As it wheezed and hissed and croaked, Johnny whispered vulgar words under his breath. And when the worn-out motorcycle pushed his last puff of carbon monoxide from the exhaust, Johnny sighed and dragged it along with him. A disturbing silence fell over the plains that surrounded him. The bison wandered but did not graze. The coyotes lurked but did not howl. The snakes slithered but did not rattle. Besides the tapping of Johnny's footsteps, along with the creaking of his motorcycle, nothing was heard. It was a lonely night. After about 2 hours of walking, Johnny saw neon red lights flicker through the haze of the fog, illuminating a dim sign that read gasoline. Or at least that's what the sign was supposed to say. The O seemed to be leaking, and the N looked as though it was one loose wire away from falling off. But as he parked the motorcycle, Johnny shrugged. After all, the United States had nothing left. Most Americans would be impressed that any lighters were still blinking at all. But either way, it didn't matter. Not to him, at least. When he walked into the gas station, the first thing Johnny saw was the pair of brown leather boots propped up on the counter. As cigarette smoke permeated the air and clouds of nicotine rose above the boots, Johnny approached the cashier. "Pardon me?" At the sound of Johnny's voice, the cashier recoiled, tilting even further back in his chair. And as it crashed into the ground, the man bashed his head against the tile. Christ, keep it down, he urged through clenched teeth. However, rather than pushing himself up off the floor, the cashier simply reached for the fallen cigarette. Without even bothering to sit up, he sighed and took a heavy drag. Then, with one hand gripping the counter, the cashier groggily pushed himself back up. For the first time since Johnny walked inside, the two made eye contact with each other. The cashier blinked several times. His deep-set eyes now seemed paranoid, constantly switching between Johnny and the window, Johnny and the window, Johnny and the... You all right, sir? Just leave. Leave? Johnny moved closer, leaning over the counter and staring at him with concern. But you hit your head. Quick, before Winston comes back. Winston? Who's that? With each passing moment, the cashier grew more and more frantic. He stubbed out his cigarette, knocking over his ashtray. Just as he grabbed Johnny by the collar to pull him out of sight, another cashier walked in. Kurt, you talking to me? Winston sighed, wringing a mop over a bucket. He glanced up. Hold on, what's going on here? Nothing, Kurt shrugged. He was just about to leave, ain't that right? He released Johnny's collar, only for Johnny to stumble over Winston's bucket and fall inside. Johnny glanced upwards, only to find Winston staring back down at him. And Winston flashed the brightest smile Johnny had ever seen. So, what's your name? Johnny was speechless. Winston didn't seem like the type of person he'd meet in the gas station, much less in the middle of nowhere. He seemed like he was supposed to be walking down the red carpet, or even shooting movies in Hollywood. Need some help? He said, reaching out his hand. Johnny instinctively flinched, cowering his head, before pulling himself up out of the bucket. I'm all right, thank you, sir. Johnny looked down at his denim jeans, which were now stained blood red. Though he tried not to, Johnny soon found himself gagging from the terrible stench. Looks like you got slushy or slurpy or whatever Kurt calls them all over you. He's always falling over and spilling things, ain't that right, Kurt? And Kurt sighed. Speaking of which, you want one? Somebody's gotta drink them. For obvious reasons, not many people come around these days. Winston laughed as he walked over to the other side of the station. He yanked at the belt that had been hanging over the hot dog machine. Sometimes I feel Kurt and I are the only ones still left. So, what's your name? As Winston talked, Johnny studied him. He behaved like nothing was strange about him, but the majority of his clothing appeared to be askew, or even missing for that matter. Johnny said slowly. Johnny, Winston proclaimed as he seamlessly slid the letter around his waist and through the loops of his pants. How do you end up at our station, kid? This place is way out in the boonies. Yes, sir, it is, but it's the only way. Johnny paused. Family matters, you see. You looking for him? The opposite. They looking for you? I mean, I'm leaving. For good? And Johnny nodded. I see, Winston sighed, now adjusting the collar of his shirt. For a moment, the gas station fell silent. That's gotta be tough, kid. Want to talk about it? He suggested warmly. I have places to be. Not with that engine of yours. Winston placed his hand on Johnny's shoulder. Kid, I know you're hurting right now. It's all right. Take some potato chips and some hot dogs and on me. The world's cruel these days, but you're safe with us. Johnny looked out the window at his motorcycle. Nothing had happened to it, but he didn't want to meet Winston's gaze. It's too late for me, Johnny said. What makes you say that? Winston asked as he yanked the pack of cigarettes, including the lighter, out of Kurt's hand. Ever since my older brother got shipped off, things changed. Mama stopped talking to me, Papa got drunk again. I'm just the disappointment, I suppose. Johnny paused. I'll never forget the way Papa looked at me when he kicked me out. He looked as though he was about to kill me, but all he did was shut the door. It's not your fault, kid. Nobody's happy, not since the war, Winston mumbled. He took another drag on his cigarette. After winning the other two twice, I thought we were unbeatable, but I guess the third time's the charm. Winston laughed, playfully punching Kurt in the shoulder. With dead eyes, Kurt took back the pack of cigarettes. But, Johnny, I saw your ride outside. If you're looking for gas, it's time you stop looking. It's too scarce. I hope you understand why Curtin was acting the way he was earlier, Winston said as he tied his undone shoelaces. I do apologize. So, am I stuck here too? Unless you want to talk? Winston sighed. I suppose so. But I gotta admit, you touched my heart, kid. Kurt's gonna hate me for saying this, but I still got Pump 9. If you're interested, of course. No, Winston, Kurt whispered, putting his head down, and not for the kid. What's Pump 9? Johnny asked. It's just behind the station. Guess you can call it their little secret. Kurt and I promised each other we'd keep it for ourselves in case of emergencies, but after talking to you, I think that you deserve it more than we do, Johnny. I do? No, Kurt shouted at Johnny. Sorry, I forgot to keep my composure, but Winston, Johnny will stay here with us till the gas shortage is finished. You can't just take the gas. Sit down, Kurt. Them cigarettes are waiting to be smoked, Winston snarled. Still staring Winston down, Kurt reluctantly sat behind the counter. As Johnny exited the gas station, he heard the flick of a lighter. Through the window, he saw Kurt smoking another cigarette. But he saw Kurt sobbing too. Why is he? Keep your eyes down, kid, Winston snapped as he guided Johnny behind the gas station. The way he said it reminded Johnny of someone. Now that I think about it, I'd rather stay with you, Johnny stammered as he walked through murky puddles. Is that wrong? Winston stopped. Unable to move or speak, he stared into the fog. After a long silence, Winston turned to face the boy trembling before him. Sir, did I disappoint you too? Johnny whispered. And a gunshot echoed into the night. Winston looked down. Johnny had fallen right into his arms. He wanted to drop him, just as he had dropped the others. But with his arms still locked into place, Winston stayed with Johnny until the fog cleared, until he could see the face of the boy in his arms. He stayed with him until, at long last, Johnny's body collapsed onto the asphalt. It's finished, Winston muttered, grabbing the phone. As Winston spoke with the burrell, Kurt buried his face in his hands. This is Winston Winchester from Station 29183. I've got 3 bodies tonight. Yeah, no one's coming for them. Christ, enough with the protocol. I followed it. Stop asking questions, Winston reported through clenched teeth before hanging up the phone. As Kurt feebly reached for another cigarette, Winston wrenched the pack out of his hands. You've had more than enough for someone who didn't meet their quota. Then he washed his clothes for the 3rd time that night. An hour later, the cars arrived. Winston and Kurt leaned against the wall as they drove the bodies far, far away. Were they disappointments, Winston? Kurt asked. Shut up, Kurt.
Oh my gosh. Yes, a million snaps. Thank you, Calix, for reciting this amazing prose piece to us. I really think you did it justice. And oh, Ariel, if you're watching this, just know that I adore your writing, and I think this was such a beautiful prose piece. And actually, I had the print copy of the magazine right now, so I was like reading with it as Calix is reading it. It's just so good. I like adore this prose piece, so snaps to that. And I see everyone snapping along, giving praise in the chat. Yes, and actually, let's do like a little tiny little break from our performance, but this is the print copy of the 2nd issue. So we have everyone's pieces on here, or everyone who's published, and for the contributors, so people who are published on here, and for our staff members, you can pick up your copy of issue number 2 on at Cypress High School. You guys, Miss Stewart, are they supposed to go into the main office, or okay, so that you go into the main office, you tell them I'm here to pick up a 2nd issue, the 2nd issue of Dial Magazine. They'll check if you're on the list of names that was approved to pick up the magazine, and you will get your 2nd copy, or the 2nd issue of Dial Magazine. And yes, it's very exciting. And is the 1st issue open for pickup too, Miss Stewart? Oh, not yet. Okay. Well, so yeah, this is also the first issue. We got a print version of it, and the contributors for the first issue, if you guys are here, and also staff members, if y'all are here, we will contact you guys when the first issue is available. When can you guys pick it up? I think what are the school hours? Oh, after graduation pickup is over. So we will be emailing all of the staff members and the contributors about picking up a copy. So we will put in all the details there. We just give you guys a little sneak peek because print issue, so exciting. So yes, that is kind of like our print issue. I'm so excited for it, and yeah, and it was just amazing. It's so beautiful. I love, like, yes. But anyways, up next, for our next performer is Kylie Madrid. Kylie is a member of Cypress Poetry Club, and Kylie is a 9th grader at Cypress High School, and she will be performing some poetry. Kylie, whenever you're ready.
Hi, so I'm just gonna start by saying that this is the first ever piece I've written about myself, and I almost decided to not perform it tonight. It's on something that I really struggle with, my complicated relationship with where I came from, and what relatively minimal knowledge I have about my dad's side of the family, and the way that my mom's side of the family has helped to shape that impression of what I do know. So thanks so much, guys, for listening. This poem is called Half a Pie of a Pie, and it's by me. Half of a pie. I got half of you. You kneaded my crust and filled it with gunk, till I was a pie with a fork in the middle. Crust with nothing but gunk in the middle, a crumbling piece of pie on a paper plate. I'm a pie to be thrown away, a pie who was made for the trash. My gunk won't stay inside me. Apple, pear, and peach on my mushy top. My gunk doesn't belong anywhere but the trash. And that's it. So thank you so much.
Kylie, first and foremost, you guys, Kylie is one of my best friends. She's one of the most amazing poets I know. And yes, snaps in the chat. Oh my goodness. I saw a comment that said short and sweet like a pie. So clever. But yes, I want to thank you for that poem and sharing that story with us, and just so amazing. It was so beautiful, and so, yes, permanent goosebumps. Yeah. And again, Kylie, I always love your writing. You know that I love your writing, and I'm so happy that you were able to be a part of our release party, perform this poem for us. So yes. And up next, we have Mira Chen. Mira is actually a board member for Cypress Poetry Club and is also a poetry editor for Dial Magazine. I also love Mira's writing. Mira, you are so talented. I love your writing so much. But yes, Mira is a 10th grader from Cypress High School who will be performing poetry. So whenever you are ready, Mira, you can go ahead.
All right, hi, I'm Mira or Miranda. One thing about me is that I just got my vaccine, just like randomly wanted to say that. I got it like 3 hours ago, so I'm kind of dead right now, but I'm gonna read my piece, which is called Litany in Which We Live Without Fear. 1, so tell me about pride removed from prejudice. Tell me about
Mira, I thought it was just me, but we can't hear you.
Oh, really?
Oh wait, we can hear you now. Sorry. Okay. Whenever you can, yeah.
I think my internet just like, is it okay now?
Yes. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, cool.
So whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'll start over. If it like cuts out at any point, you could just tell me. Okay. So this is Litany in Which We Live Without Fear. 1, so tell me about pride removed from prejudice. Tell me about bloodshed and war, the inherent horrors of everyday living, and the gentler parts too. love without the presence of anger, which have only been separable in stories for me. 2, we can pretend to be poets, putting on the characters of people who have lived interesting lives, who have loved wholly and deeply, enough to turn inchoate feeling into tangible word and offer it to the world without shame. 3, tell me about movies. We are more like ourselves when written into stories, when stepping onto a stage into a volatile world more passionate and powerful than our own. Tell me about the dead poets, about a lineage of artists who went mad. Let's hope we end in a different fate. 4, now tell me about kindness. Tell me about the cleaning of a wound, tender, abstinent, trying with every fiber and cell in your being to not inflict more pain. Tell me about a love without anger, a love like looking at a painting in a museum. You cannot tell where each brushstroke ends and begins. You feel like you're witnessing an act of great sacrifice. 5, I am stepping into the woods, but you are beside me, a firm, solid presence, and neither of us are looking back. We are no longer scared of bloodshed or war, not out of immunity, but out of closeness to it, and we are no longer pretending. In this story, we are poets, blind, unsure of ourselves, but stumbling through the woods without fear of the unknown. That's it.
Snaps to that. The references in that poem, so amazing. Just yes, like snaps. And Mira, you know I love your writing. It was just so good, and the figurative language, the imagery that you just brought us into, it was so good, and I want to thank you for sharing that with us, especially, and also like snaps on getting your vaccine. That's so exciting. And I just again want to thank you for sharing that, and like the Pride and Prejudice reference. I always love reading the renditions of Pride and Prejudice, the different renditions, like the zombie ones or whatever it may be.
I'm like,
so fun.
I'm such a movie nerd. So that's why I just like Pride and Prejudice reference, Dead Poet Society reference. But yeah, I watched Pride and Prejudice like last weekend, and I'm gonna read the book now, so I'm so excited.
I love so much. Yes. So snaps to that. Thank you for sharing, Mira. And up next, we have Madeline Lay. Please let me know if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly.
Either way's fine.
Oh, okay, thank you. So Madeline is a 9th grader at Catella High School who will be performing poetry. Madeline is one of our editors at Dial Magazine. Very exciting. So yes, whenever you are ready, you can go ahead.
Okay, so this poem's loosely based on my grandma. So yeah, I'll just get into it. My grandmother prays with her lips clamped like a premature flower in June. Plays soft and firm, uttering the tell, not yet, simply waiting for the right time. Her fingertips, well experienced, act as if in a historic play. Meeting as star-crossed lovers, they kiss each other as if it has been years since they had last touched. Many would think it impossible for such simple movements to be so poetic, so full of utmost grace and wisdom that she could possibly be mistaken as the mother herself. I wonder how her hands feel after such practices. Will they be cold like the sacred water, or warm like Mary's motherly touch? Perhaps they'd be so indescribably holy that I, the ultimate sinner, would smolder after holding them. The lines of time that map her hands, what would they feel like? What stories would they whisper to me? I opened my mouth to ask, but her eyes, deeper than the ocean she had crossed, tells me to wait and merely listen to the way the priest says, patience. That's it.
Thank you so much, Madeline, for sharing that poem. Usually when we are working at Dial, we only get to review poems, review other pieces of work. So being able to hear work from our staff members is such a beautiful experience, and I'm so thankful for that. So thank you, Madeline, for sharing. It was such a beautiful piece. And as someone who writes about her grandma quite a lot as well, I thought that was just amazing. So gorgeous, so stunning. And I loved it, and I loved the way you delivered it. It was just so beautiful. And yes, so thank you. And before we close out for the evening, we still have 30 minutes left. And I also saw in the chat that Miss Stewart wanted to possibly perform something, wanted to, no, no. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind.
I was saying that other readers are welcome to put their names in the chat. Normally I would, but I feel really strongly that this is your night. I truly, truly feel like this is your magazine, and there is no way I'm touching that. No, this is too special. And yeah, I'm crying. Whatever.
Oh, Miss Stewart, you can't make me cry. You guys, I'm an Aquarius. It's a rare sight to see me cry. But anyways, because we do have some extra time and we are at the end of our roster, we might we're gonna do like a little surprise thing for our, oh my goodness, Nikki is a Pisces. I always like tell that to her, like, Nikki, that was such a Pisces thing to do. But anyways, yes, so as like a little surprise for those who already performed, or for people who are watching and want to perform, we are going to be opening up the mic to everyone in our audience as kind of a big like last celebration to art, and to just like celebrating AUHSD artists. And we want to hear from you guys from the audience. Oh my goodness, Mira, I appreciate that. I attach my personality very strongly to my Aquarius placements. But thank you. But yes, and so I'm going to shut up now. I will be watching the chat. You can unmute your mic. If there's no one, we can also force Nikki to go. But anyways, I'm gonna shut up now. So if you want to perform, you can unmute your mic and just let us know. We will introduce you. But yes, I will shut up now. I see no one, so oh my goodness, Nikki put up a reaction. That was I'm if people don't know, Nikki and I are big fanatics for the Zoom reactions. For some reason, they're so fun, like having an emoji at the corner of your poem. So funny. But yes, Nikki, if you would you like to perform a poem for us to maybe close it out?
Yeah, I could perform like two, and I think Christian also has like some excerpt from a story, so I think Christian could close it.
Okay,
yes, because
awesome.
I'm reading the chat. Okay. Okay, so I can share two. I don't know how long they are, so I'm sorry. I think we have time. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this one is called Tiger, and this one is about tiger parenting. If you don't know what tiger parenting is, it's just parents that just are strict with you. Yeah. So this is called Tiger. Whew. I stare into her eyes. The piercing yellow shines right through me. She's almost beautiful. They wearily droop, so worn, so faded. She makes me want to weep. I was put into this cave for as long as time could tell. Tiger's pretty, but Tiger scares me. Tiger wants to smile, but she bares her teeth and itches to roar. The yellow flares at me. She pleads me to leave, says she's protected me for too long now. I want to leave, but every time I try to creep away, she snarls, she growls, she glares, and the yellow burns my brain. And I have no choice but to accept its inevitable rot. I tiptoe around a bed of coals for her, but Tiger thinks that the sizzles were my hissings. Nothing works. So I have to learn to let the coals warm me up, and my insides start to melt, and Tiger grieves over my liquefying body, but I am now too scared, too weak to comfort her. And there's my poem. Sorry, that was a little heavy. Okay. I'm sorry. This other one is like not even. So this one's also kind of a downer. But okay. Let me look for it really quick. Okay, I wrote this one, I think about a week ago. A few of my poetry club members have heard it, and it was actually inspired by a conversation that Rebecca and I had about carp and koi fish. And this was because we were wondering if koi fish were edible since they were only pets, you know, why, like, how come no one eats them? Because they're fish. And we found out that was because carp in general, which is a type of koi, is dirty based on just like the area they come from. I don't want to eat them. I was just wondering. But that's what the research said. And yeah, so this was inspired by that. And this is called Little Miss Carp and the Koi. Little Miss Carp is content. At least that's what Little Miss Carp wants to be. Little Miss Carp swims in the river and flows with the current. Little Miss Carp loves her boring, brown, dull scales and is totally okay with not being the first choice. She's totally okay with not having those stunning orange and white sequins, her scales, and not to mention those beautiful flowing fins. Yeah, Little Miss Carp is definitely okay. Little Miss Carp feels like Little Miss Crap, but Little Miss Carp says she's better than the koi. She gets to be free in the river and they get to live in a fake pond till the end of their days. It's their choice, he says, to be pretty and to be chosen and taken away to live in a home that isn't home. Silly, silly Little Miss Carp. She doesn't realize that she and the koi are nothing more than scales and meat, and they are nothing more than the muddy, polluted river water that infiltrated their insides. Hungry, hungry fisherman will take his hook, grab her with a grin, cut her open, only to be disgusted by the dirt and to discard her with the others, because after all, it was nothing more than scales and meat. Dirty scales and dirty meat, Little Miss Carp and the koi are nothing more than scales and meat and mud. And there you go.
Nikki, I love the drama, the passion, just the rise and the fall, the performance. It was so beautiful, so amazing. It was like, yes, snaps to that. And now for our last performance for today, for our closer, we have Christian. Christian is one of our school representatives for Dial Magazine. So Christian, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Christian. Oh my god, my heart's pounding. Okay. So I'm not exactly a poet like you guys here. You guys are amazing. But I started writing this little story and it's basically just like the beginning of it, and I was really excited to share it with you guys. So yeah, it's named The Day Has Come by me. Okay, so day 1. It was a chilling and beautiful night when everything happened. It was my first homecoming ever, and the best part was that it was a sleepover homecoming, a party with all my school friends celebrating. We were all having an amazing night. It was about 5 in the morning. We had just woken up from dancing all night from 6 to 10 p.m. So we woke up and started dancing some more and having fun. My friend Natalie and I were dancing on the grass while everyone around us was cheering us on. My crush, Xavier, asked me to dance with him, so I said, wow, Xavier asking me to dance. Now that's a real surprise. Of course I will, thanks. While I looked into his eyes, he took my hand and led me back to the dance floor. His hand was nice and soft in mine. I almost screamed at how amazed I was that I was dancing with my crush. We danced for so long, I was getting tired, but at the same time, I felt so good dancing with him. All he did was look at me in the eyes while dancing. We spent about 10 minutes just like this, until he said, I just can't believe you're so beautiful. Your dress looks amazing. I love all the blue and gold glitter, all flowy, and it's blue with gold marble. Your eyes are so hazel and gorgeous. How are you making your first homecoming? Until my mind did what he was actually saying. So how do you like your homecoming so far? I wish they would change the song to something with more movement. It's a bit cold. I might fall asleep again, ha ha ha, was what he actually said. I was surprised I was daydreaming about what he was saying, so I just responded with, oh, ha ha ha. Yeah, me too. I'm getting a bit as well. And the homecoming is awesome. All the decorations and food are amazing. I love the theme I love that the theme was underwater. I absolutely appreciate all the hard work put into this day. The decorations were truly admirable. There were spirals that went from blue to silver, some purple to yellow, and some rainbow all over the ceiling. The walls were covered with fake bubbles, seashells, starfish, fish, and coral on the walls and floor corners randomly placed. It felt like I was truly underwater. We broke apart, said our goodbyes, and see you laters. We just went our separate ways, just mingling around. 2 hours later, around 7 in the morning, when all of a sudden we heard sudden yells and screams coming from the school we were having our party at. Young kids and teens yelling and running away from each other. I was so confused, so I ran towards Natalie. What is going on? I asked. I don't know, but it doesn't sound good. Those are blood-curdling screams. Let's go find out what's going on, she said. I grabbed her hand, and together we ran to the front of the school. When we saw something horrifying, the kids were actually yelling and running away from walkers, zombies. This was a terrifying sight for both of us. I couldn't believe my eyes. Kids screaming, some getting chased, hiding, dead. I turned to Natalie, grabbed her arm, and ran us over to a corner behind a bench and said, I can't believe what is going on. We're officially in the zombie apocalypse. Just what I needed for my first homecoming. Something traumatic that changed my life. We could laugh during the horrifying moment. We just sat there in silence. Natalie was real quiet after I had spoken for the first time since we first saw the walkers. We sat in pure silence for 5 minutes. I was looking at the kids in horror, not knowing what to do. However, I started numbers. After all, watching all that Walking Dead wasn't for nothing. While observing the walkers, I noticed that they had their eyes closed until they heard noise near them, and they would open their eyes to find next prey. It was terrible, but it was something great knowing and an advantage to them. I looked back to Natalie and explained my observation. We decided that we had to move and find somewhere safer. We had to find a car that works and get out of here, and quick, I said. All right, but do you know how to drive? Because I definitely don't. We already have enough stuff trying to kill us, so if we find a car, it would probably be best for me not to try. You are driving. I quickly laughed at her joke. I started looking in the parking lot, still trying not to look at the walkers, feeding. I then noticed a familiar face inside of a large black car with clear windows. It was Jasmine, a friend I had made when we worked on a science project together, and we got close. Wait, look, it's Jasmine, the black car. Let's get over there, see if she lets us in, I said. Oh my god, yeah, it's her. Okay, let's go, said Natalie. Right then, I remembered the knife my dad had given me for self-defense, which was in the pocket of my dress. I took it out and held it out in front of me, while showing Natalie too. We grabbed each other's hands and ran across the parking lot very quietly, trying not to bump into any walkers. We finally reached Jasmine's car, and she slowly rolled down her window. Natalie put her out the lids, making sure she understood to be very quiet. I came closer to her face and said very soft, Hey Jasmine, it's me, Ariel, from when we worked on the science project. And this is my best friend Natalie. Can we come in with you? Please, it's terrifying out here. She quickly nodded her head and unlocked the doors to let us inside. We opened the car and went in. Jasmine locked the doors right away with her hands trembling. When we were finally inside, I saw Sophia, Jasmine's best friend. We weren't exactly friends, but I knew her, and we got along pretty well. Hey, Sophia, this is Natalie, my best friend. It's good to see both of you are okay and safe. We're Where were you guys when everything happened? How did you guys get away from everything and stay safe? Are you guys okay? I said with excitement, relief, and sincerity. It took them a couple of minutes to just raise their heads and look at us closely, to adjust having more people in the car. Finally, Jasmine broke the silence. Me and Sophia were in the bathroom when everything started, yelling and screaming at the tops of their lungs. We were confused but scared, so we peeked out and saw what was going on. We totally understood what was going on, so we just ran and ran, not looking back, until we got here, to my car. We have been here since, in shock. Sophia, sadly and slowly, she nodded in agreement. I could tell she was having a hard time processing everything. Natalie turned to me and said to my ear, "They are having a really hard time and don't seem super stable for all of this. What do we do?" Well, this is a lot to process too. There's space for 5 more in here, and I think we should try and save anyone we can. 5 more only. A big group makes it hard to move around, but we can't just leave, I said. I spoke loudly so everyone could hear. We have about 3 minutes to get out of here before we get trapped, because in 3 minutes, parents are going to start coming in to pick up their children and saying this mass. They will want to try and find their kids, and a lot of them will just be food for the walkers. We have space for 5 more, so I have to get out there and save 5. After we need to leave. We can go to my house. It is safe. They all turn to me and nod. Natalie, though, saying, "I have to stay and take care of Jasmine and Sophia and make sure they're okay. I don't want you to go alone. Are you sure you want to do this?" "Yes, I do. I will do it. I will come back. However, I have to go now." "Okay, but be safe and don't die." "I promise," I told Natalie. Before I left, however, I turned to them one more time and spoke. "Is there anyone you guys would like me to try and find?" "I'm going to try and find my brother." "I know you have your brother, Joshua. Would you like me to try to find him?" "Oh my God, yes. I have been worried sick thinking about him. Please, if you see him, please, if you see him like one of them, do what you have to do. Don't let him hurt anyone. Please, I trust you." "Okay," was all I could say. I didn't want tearing up since it wouldn't help the situation. Be strong for them. They count on me, I thought to myself. Jasmine and Sophia said no with their silence at the question. I looked at Natalie and nodded, as in saying, "It's time. Goodbye." I turned towards the door, took a deep, long breath, and opened the door. I stepped outside and braced myself for the terror that came next. I took a hold of my knife in my pocket and held it low by my thigh, ready to strike at whatever came near me. I crouched down to make sure I wasn't so visible. The clock was ticking, so I ran towards the front of the school to figure out what my next step was. On my way to the front, a couple of walkers had their eyes open due to all the commotion still going on. The walkers saw me and came wobbling around with a bit of speed coming towards me all of a sudden. So I held my knife to chest level, ready to take them on. One by one, I took my knife and plunged it right into its skull, splattering with their ugly and disgusting blood. One, however, I didn't see started coming at me from behind. I heard its nasty growl. But I was fighting off another walker. Scared for my life, as fast as I took my knife and threw my hand over my shoulders, where the head of the walker would be behind me, finally killing it. Pushed away the walker that was in front of me, giving me a chance of recover and bringing it down to the floor to die. I got up and looked at my dress, so disappointed, all splattered with red and dark blood. I could feel adrenaline and fear controlling me, overwhelming me. I shook my head, looking down at my hand, bloody and gross. I could feel the drops of blood falling from my face and onto my dress, like sweat. Meanwhile, back in the Jasmine, Sophia, and Natalie. "It's okay. We will be just fine. Don't worry about it. Come on." Deep, nice, and calm breaths. "Come on, both of you. Jasmine, Sophia, breathe. Come on, calm down." Sophia and Jasmine were having panic attacks. They turned pale. They couldn't breathe. They couldn't get their words out. They were choking out of fear. They were shaking uncontrollably, unable to stop and calm down. They were freaking out more. They couldn't comprehend and take in what was going on around them. They were terrified. Finally, after 5 minutes, they both started to take small and slow breaths, with tears rolling down their face, cheeks red, shaking hands, and sweaty palms. That's it. Stop. Now just keep breathing long, deep breaths. You got this. Think of nice waterfalls, peace. Come on, keep it up. I will breathe with you. Inhale, hold, and exhale. Great. Keep doing that. After 10 minutes of inhaling and exhaling, they got all better and were way more relaxed. When all of a sudden, a herd of walkers passed by, moaning and growling, looking for us to see or hear us, and we intended to keep it that way. So I told Jasmine and Sophia in a low and quiet voice, "Shh, that's a herd. We have to stay put and not attract them to the car. Stay calm. They will be gone in a bit. Try to get down so that they don't see us. After they are gone, we can get back up and wait for Christian to come back, okay?" Sophia and Jasmine, for the first time speaking since me and Christian came, said, "Okay," and both at the same time. Crazy. Though said, "Thank you for taking care of us and helping calm us down. Sorry we just lost it for a second." "Thank you. I'm Jasmine." "Oh, of course. And don't worry about it, Jazz. This, in fact, is a lot to take in, so it's definitely okay. My name's Natalie, Christian's friend." "Great. Great to officially meet you." "Yeah, just like Jasmine said, truly thank you. I would like to thank Christian when she gets back too. And my name is Sophia. Also great meeting you." "Oh well. Hello, Sophia. Now that we are all officially introduced, we can wait for Christian to get back and stay real quiet so we don't attract any walkers, and we can get to safety and out of this crazy and deadly school. During this time out with Christian in the parking lot. My dress now splattered with blood everywhere, making it seem like my dress was actually red instead of. I didn't know if the blood was the walkers or mine. I picked up a knife that had fallen after I finished killing the walkers, and I placed it back by my thigh near the pocket in my dress. I crouched down next to a car and looked around to see if I could find anyone who I could help out, my blood rushing all across my body. I could feel the adrenaline, but it was the kind that scares you, the terrifying of not knowing if I was going to make it out alive or if anyone would. The end. It's kind of long. I'm sorry about that, but thank you.
Oh my gosh, Christian, I enjoyed just like hearing that, and then also how the audience was just following along in the chat box. So good. I think I see a future New York Times best-selling author. Oh ho ho. But yes, thank you so much for sharing. That was a great way to just close out the night, close out our release party, and just one more time, I just want to show you guys like the print copy. Isn't it so pretty? She's so pretty. So this is our first issue, and then this is our second issue. So beautiful. And oh, and also the cover was created by one of our layout editors, Eleanor. They're so talented, so talented. And I amazing. And then contributors and staff members, we will be emailing you guys about picking up a copy very soon. And I will also copy and paste into the chat issue number 2 so you can go read it if you would like to. And there were also emails sent out to everybody kind of talking about the release of issue number 2, so you can also find the copy there. But again, thank you to everybody who came. Thank you to those who performed. Thank you to everybody for making it such an uplifting experience, putting praise in the chat, snapping for our performers, uplifting them. And like this night would not have been as amazing of an event without you guys, because you guys just like help to affirm these performers that their art is important, is so valued, and I'm so thankful and grateful for everybody. And I think that wraps up our event. Also, if you are an 8th grader at Lexington or an 8th grader who's going to be coming to Cypress next year, or you're a current Cypress student, join Poetry Club next year. We do a lot of fun activities. Last week we did a scavenger hunt with poetry. It was so fun. But yes, that is everything. Yeah, and I just again want to thank everybody for coming. We will stay if anybody has any questions, and yeah, I think that is everything. So again, thank you everybody. Bye-bye. We did a scavenger hunt with poetry. It was so fun. But yes, that is everything. Yeah, and I just again
Bye.